Okay, we're going to get started. So thank you so much, everyone that is joining us today. My name is Michael, and with me is my colleague Benjamin. We are the co-founders of Click Reporting.
Hi there.
So before we jump in, we've got a very simple agenda today. We're going to spend a few minutes just giving you some backgrounds about Click Reporting and telling you about ourselves. The main part of the webinar is going to be a live demo of the platform, which Benjamin is going to be leading. And then we're going to have questions. There's something very important about questions. In order to ask questions, you can do that at any point throughout the webinar. For those that haven't used this tool before, go to Webinar. In your panel on the right-hand side of your screen, you'll see there's a section there that says questions. You can type questions there at any time. Alternatively, there's also a chat section. So if that's easier, if that works better for you, you can type any questions in the chat section. And what we will do is we will keep the questions over there, type them at any point throughout the demonstration, and at the end we will answer those questions. Okay. So again, you're not going to be able to speak during the presentation, but if at any time you've got any questions, feel free to type them in the question section or the chat section, and we will answer them at the end of the webinar. Very brief background about us. So I am Michael. I am the tech side of the two of us behind Click Reporting. My background is in product. My most recent experience is that I was VP product at Graduate, which many of you may have heard of. At Graduate, we built alumni networking platforms for universities. I was there for 9 years leading the product team. I'm going to now hand over to my colleague Benjamin, who will tell you about himself and then lead the demonstration.
Okay, great. Thanks. 1 second. I'm just going to share my screen. Okay, so hopefully you can now see my screen. Just a bit of background about myself. My name is Benjamin Zatman. I am currently a partner at Gunnar Cook, a real estate partner, and 17 years of being a property solicitor. And I've got a fairly varied client base. I work for on the residential side, buy-to-let landlords. My commercial clients buy and sell commercial property. Also have landlord and tenant clients, so I'm doing leases as well. So I'm doing reports on title in different scenarios: residential purchases, and also for commercial purchases, and for tenants who are taking leases. So that's kind of how I came to this. There was a time about 12 months ago when I was spending a lot of time preparing title reports, and I found I was doing the same thing over and over again, as everyone probably on the call will have experienced. When we prepare the title report, we're taking out the title number, we're taking out the property address, we're taking out the covenants, the easements, the rights, and we're putting it into our report. And the process of doing this takes a lot of time, because when you actually, let's say you're copying and pasting from the title register, each time you paste it into your report, it comes in the wrong format, in the wrong size. There's a line break in between each line. And we're spending, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes, 30 minutes just on editing these reports, particularly on a longer title. So I approached Michael back then, and I said to him, is there another way? Is there a tech way of dealing with this? I had actually looked myself to see if there was if there's a product out there that could do this extraction automatically, and I couldn't find anything. And so Michael and I had a chat about it, and we kind of have gone on to now build this tool which extracts information automatically from a title register. Now, the buzzword, obviously, across all professions now is automation, and with the rise of ChatGPT and kind of moving on to this kind of AI type assistance. I mean, there are various people who have predicted that lawyers will become obsolete. I mean, I can't see that happening in the near future, but what we are finding, and what I suppose all of us are seeing, is that there are tools out there which we can use to make ourselves more productive, to make ourselves more profitable, and Click Reporting is a tool like that. It's a tool that effectively speeds up the process of extracting information from a title register and putting it into your report. So what I'll do now, I'm just going to go into the site and show you how it works. So just 1 second. So this is the main web page that we have. There are only 2 pages, and we've designed this for it to be as simple as possible. So there's an initial web page, and then there's a page to log in. So you would just log in using your user details, and this is the only other page on there. So there are 2 options on this page. You can either upload a file that's already on your system by clicking the red button here, or what's more likely is that the documents have come in on an email, say, or you've got them stored on your system. So what I'll do, I'm just going to drag over from this folder a title register and drop it into the box. So by doing that, the program starts working, and then it generates, you can probably see down here in the bottom left corner of your screen, it's generated a Word report. So what I'll do, I'll just open that up side by side. Okay, so what we can see is that the title number has been extracted here straight away from the top over here. We've got the date and time of the office copy, which has come out. We've got the class of title, it's picked up that it's leasehold. It's then picked up the details of the lease, which is put in over here. Some registers will also include the annual rent, so there is a space for that, but on this one, the annual rent actually wasn't stated on the register, so it's just put extraction error. And then what it's done is it's taken out all of the whole entry. Now, we wouldn't necessarily report on the whole entry, we wouldn't necessarily include all of that in our report to our client, but what we would do is we would take out the relevant parts of that. So for example, it starts off by saying this first entry is from a conveyance and assignment dated the 29th of March 1985. So it then recites the whole, or rather extracts the whole entry from the register, and then we would edit that as we would do normally. But the process of it extracting all of that in the correct font, in the correct size, and us not having to then spend our time doing the administrative task of changing that is what's saving the time here. So all of the entries from the property register are put under this first heading, which I just skipped past, so rights which benefit or burden the property. Those are all set out over here. That's the entries from the property register. Then if I scroll down, there's a section restrictions and other matters which burden the property, and those have come from the charges register. Again, it's recited the whole entry, and then we would just edit that. It's quite a straightforward process. Here, for example, there's reference to accepting and reserving mines and minerals, reference to support from adjoining properties, etc. So those are the kind of things that we might want to report to our clients. So we would leave those in there, and then we would edit around it. At the end of each section, you'll see here in red, there's actually just a square bracket, insert advice if required. So really what this is leaving us to do, the intention is not to replace the solicitor in any way. The intention is to allow the solicitor to then include their advice in the report without, without having to spend the time either copy typing or copying and pasting the information from the register. So everything's come out from the register into the report, and I mean, there's various other headings as well as we scroll down. If there's a schedule of restrictive covenants, it would pull everything out of the register and put it there. On this register, there is a schedule of personal covenants actually, which is below the proprietorship register over here. So it's pulled that out in its own heading. If there were charges, it will pull them out here. So I know, if you're maybe acting for a lender and you're doing the report, they want a title report, they want to know if their charge is registered, if they want to know who the registered proprietor is, all that information is obviously being pulled out straight away. There's also references to restrictions. Again, if you're acting for a lender and they want to know is there restriction registered on the title, it's pulled that out. If there are notices or cautions, it's pulled those out there. And then we have this section at the very end of the report, unknown. So this is an algorithm. So it's interpreting and trying to work out where to put various entries from the register into the report. So if it doesn't know where to put something, it will leave it in this unknown section over here. And then it's for the solicitor to look at or the conveyancer to look at and say, okay, do we need to report to the client on this? This entry in particular relates to, it's an indemnity covenant, so we may be reporting on that. We may be showing the client that this is going to go into the transfer, and so we might put it up somewhere into the report. But if the algorithm isn't sure, it just leaves it in this unknown section so it doesn't miss anything. Now, one other thing that in fact, what I'll do, I'm going to do another register. It's actually a 13-page register this time, so it's a very how quick the software is. So I just pull up the.
Benjamin, since you did the last one, we've had a few more people that have joined. So just talk through again the process of how you're now going to go about it, and also just for the benefit of those that have joined since the beginning. If anyone has any questions during the presentation, you can type them in the questions or the chat section of the panel, of the GoToWebinar panel, and we'll get to them at the end of the presentation.
Okay, right, thanks, Michael. So I'm just going to sign out again, just to show those who have just joined us. The site is very simple, straightforward to use. There are only really 2 pages. There's this initial web page that you would then sign into. And once signed in, you then get to this second page where you can either click here to upload the file from your system, or drag and drop, say from an email or from a file on your system. So what I've got just to show you is this is the 13-page title register. So if you just hover it over the box over here and then let go, it then tells you it's downloading the file. And then what we'll do, we'll open that up side by side, the actual PDF title register. And we'll look at the 2 things. So you can see now this has now appeared in the bottom left corner. It took about 10 seconds to generate this report. But if you think about how long it might take you to extract information from a 13-page title register, I'd be extremely impressed if anyone could do that in 10 seconds. So here's the register. I mean, one of the reasons this register is so long is because there's a 2001 transfer here, which the Land Registry have spent 2 or 3 pages reciting everything from that transfer. But actually, that's a benefit for us because that then gets everything onto the onto our report, which we can then edit for the benefit of our client. So every entry from the property register will have been recited, and obviously at the top of the report we've got this handy summary, which is the property details. Now, at the end of another reason why this was 13 pages long, which is one of the reasons I wanted to show you, at the end of the title register, there's a schedule of notices of leases. It's actually a housing association title, their freehold title. So all of the leases are noted. So if we scroll down to the end of the report that's been generated, what we can see is that the report has also generated a summary of these leases. So for each lease, it's pulled out the demised premises, so effectively the property description, the date of the lease term. Now, this has numerous applications. I mean, for example, if you're dealing with a freehold site, if you're acting for an investor client, say who's buying a freehold site subject to numerous leases, then this gives you the outline of the summary for the client, and then you can put in the lease rent or the parties, and then whatever other information. I mean, we would like to also be doing lease reports there, but this shows from the title, takes out of the title the schedule of the leases and sets it out there. And again, this all of the restrictions here, as you can see, have been pulled out. There was a schedule of personal covenants on this register. Again, it's pulled that out under this heading over here. And then every entry it has included on the report. Now, I mean, this 2001 transfer just happens, and we would probably report on most of these entries. So there's probably not much to do. We could report exactly as this is. There's obviously reference here to no trade or business, not to erect any sheds or outbuildings. These are exactly the kind of things that the clients would want to know. So, as you can see, what it's doing is it's saving the time of either copy typing, copying and pasting, and bringing it over. One of the things that tends to take the longest if you are copying and pasting from PDFs is taking out the line breaks and editing the text. So it brings it all over, and it does it in about 5 seconds. As we saw. I mean, this was a longer register, but a usual register it's about 5 seconds. I'll just do one more. This one has this next register has a couple of charges on it, so I can just show you how it pulls those out. So again, we just grab the title register, we drag it across, drop it in, and then we're just looking down in the bottom left corner of the screen for the title register, or rather for the Word report to then be generated, and there it is. It's just popped up. So we'll open that. We'll look at that side by side. Here we go. And I just wanted to show you how it pulls out the charges. So on this register, in the charges register, there are 2 registered charges in favour of Canada Life, and those on the report have come out. Actually, there's also a schedule of restrictive covenants. As I was saying before, this title register does have a schedule of restrictive covenants, and as you can see under this heading, it's pulled out each of those covenants, each of those entries. So under this heading, registered charges, again, it's pulled out each of the charges. Where the charges have a note, I mean, there's a reference here to the lender being obliged to make further advances. It's pulled that note out there. Now, you probably see that all of the extracted information is highlighted yellow. So I mean, this is just a standard Word document. So what we would do is by holding down Control and A, it selects the whole document, and then you would just remove the color. So that takes the color off very quickly. So it's not a permanent coloring there in any way. So that is that's a demonstration of the platform, how it works. A couple of other applications that our clients have told us. I mean, I use this myself, and this is one of the things that I'm doing. When, say, the title register comes in, when we get information, let's say we're acting on a sale, it's very easy to just copy and paste the information that's at the top of the report into an email to the client, and we can let the client know, you know, the title of documents have come in. Here's a very quick summary. It's got the address, it's got the class of title. You know, we can attach the title plan as well to that email. It tells them who the owner is and the price that they paid for it. And then we can just tell the client, you know, the documents have arrived, we're reviewing them, here's a quick summary, here's the title plan, and it's just an opportunity for engagement with the client. Another client who's using it had told us that they had to prepare a sale pack. There was going to be a bidding process, and there were 11 titles making up the plot of land that was being sold. And that the customer told me he'd actually set aside a day and a half to prepare this title summary. And he called me the next day and he told me he'd actually done the whole thing using the software in about 45 minutes, because it was, you know, he was able to then, you know, extract all the information and then present it in a way for this sale pack. So the idea here is, you know, we are trying to automate part of the process, something that we're doing every time when we're preparing the title reports, make it easier to extract this information and put it into a format that we can use, and then, you know, spend our time actually advising the clients rather than you know, doing the administrative task of extracting information. So that is the demo. That's how it works. Just going to go back over to the slideshow.
Okay, great, Benjamin, thank you. So we've got one question so far, which we're going to answer in a moment. Just to remind everyone else that's recently joined, if you have any questions which you'd like us to answer during the presentation, there's 2 sections you can do it in the panel. There's one is the question section. If you have a look on the right hand side of the panel, there's a question section. There's also a chat section. So if you've got any questions, now is the time to ask and we will answer them. Obviously we'll give you contact details as well at the end if you want to ask anything privately afterwards. So Timothy Lee, we've got one question from you. I presume this doesn't work with a scanned register. It doesn't have an OCR function. So actually this technology partly is an OCR system, so it converts the PDF into a Word document. So typically that PDF will come directly from the land registry. Either you would have downloaded it from the land registry, or more likely you would have got it in an email from your client. But it should work if it's been scanned as well. So any PDF, it should be able to convert. Obviously it will depend on the quality of the scanning. But intelligent system, which both is an OCR system, and also uses our own bespoke AI system, which searches for the relevant data, extracts, and puts it into the title report.
We have tested it. We have tested it on scanned PDFs, and it does work. We tried it on a scanned PDF that had writing on it as well. You know, where someone kind of would scribble on it to try and confuse it, and as long as the text of each entry is visible, it picks it up. So if the writing is on the margins, it's okay. But if someone's kind of written across the whole of the register, it would struggle. But you can use a scanned or a photocopy of a PDF. It doesn't have to be the original download from the Land Registry.
Okay, thank you for that, Timothy. I hope that answers your question. If there's no other questions, Benjamin, maybe you want to just move to the final slide. So these are all of our contact details. Obviously, we would love to hear from you, your thoughts on this platform, if you think it would be helpful for you when creating title reports. Anything that we're not doing at the moment which you think would be helpful for you would also be much appreciated. We do run a 7-day free trial on the platform, so anyone, if you would like to sign up and try the platform, you're welcome to do so. You just go to our website, clickreporting.ai, select the package you want, and you'll automatically be entitled to a 7-day free trial. I'm also going to be sending through this recording of this webinar for anyone, so if you want to watch it again, if you missed something, if you came late, I'm going to send through the recording as well. So I can't see there's any more questions right now, so if that's the case, we're going to end this presentation. I thank you very much for everyone that has attended, for your interest in Click Reporting, and for joining this conversation, and we will be in touch shortly. Thank you so much.
Thanks very much.